Hey, everybody, welcome to The Unconventional Therapist. My name is Dave, and I am here with my co host. His name is Greg. What's up?
Hey Dave, how are you? I don't know if you've noticed, I've got
You're
a
wearing
new,
a chain.
I got this new chain. I'm not going to show the front because I don't think I should do that. But yeah, started the new job.
Congrats. How
Yeah,
many days are you on the new job?
5 days a week.
When did you start officially?
So I started January 2nd.
Okay.
And I gotta tell you, I don't know if anybody else out there is going through a transition, like maybe starting a new job or any kind of transition, relationship ending, whatever it is. It's a really weird feeling that I almost forgot about. It's like you've got one foot sort of in the past where you're like, should I have done this? And you've got one in the future where you're like, this is my path, this is what I should be doing. And you just kind of getting pulled in both directions, wondering if you made the right choice. And it's kind of a difficult place to be, you know?
Yeah.
If only there was some kind of something to consult.
I think this is why a lot of us avoid
It
change
is. It
because
is scary.
transitions can be tough and overwhelming and scary. They can
Hmm.
also be exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm worried about I don't move as much at this job. It's a lot of sitting. I'm like, am I gonna gain weight
Yeah.
back? It's gonna be,
Oh,
it's
can I tell
it's
you? Can
tough.
I be honest with you?
Looking a little doughy in the cheeks.
No, I've been eating like crazy lately.
Really?
Stress eating for sure. Like
Yeah.
crazy though. I snacked so many times today. It's
What's
crazy.
going on?
Well, a ton, but like, yeah, I gotta watch my eating habits. I did want to share something really quick. Because so many people are vulnerable and open with us. So like we have a really authentic following of people, right? Um, we've recently received, actually, I shouldn't say recently, it's been for a while now. We've received so many emails or, you know, comments of or messages from people of people like sharing things that they're going through. And it's like really heartwarming and like flattering that people feel where they're comfortable enough to be able to do that just from hearing us and hearing our dialogue. Like I think that's a really powerful thing if you think about it, that we can connect with people without even directly talking to them in a way. But I also kind of think that in on that same aspect, we owe it to them and to the rest of our audience to also be vulnerable and authentic at times. And yeah, as I mentioned, like um I know that I'm stress eating. There's a ton of stuff going on, but like one of the things that's been really weighing with me, and I shared this with you months ago, like my neighbor across the street who I'm buddies with, he's 44 years old. He's got his wife. They have a son that they with them. Super nice guy. He was diagnosed with brain cancer a few months back, and unfortunately, I think it was on New Year's Eve. He was ordered for hospice, so
Oh,
he is currently home. He was in the hospital. He had gotten RSV, and just like a cold turns into this huge thing for him. But he's back home. Got to visit him a couple of days ago. Still got his like personality, which is really nice to see, but he's in bed, he's aspirating like crazy. He's struggling with finding words. It's so frustrating for him. He's trying to tell a story, or he's just trying to even a joke sometimes, and it's like just a word just won't he can't place it. And it's like so frustrating for him. And I just watch it and I'm like, I can only imagine what that must be like to just feel like you can't even like communicate the things you want to communicate that you could communicate fine a few months back, right? Um, but yeah, that's been like a really humbling and like reflective like
yeah.
experience to kind of think about how your life can just change and like how you really can't just take everything for granted, and even things that are like qualities about yourself could change at some point in time, if God forbid something were to happen. So, I mean, his name's Patrick. I just want to give him a shout out. He doesn't listen to this podcast. He listens to my other one, in all honesty.
Yeah.
And he is a movie guy too. But,
Okay.
but
He
it's
doesn't like
still,
the co-host?
I did share this with him. I don't know if he ever got into it, but, yeah, he's such a great guy. And, I'm dreading the day that he's not going to be around because he will be sorely missed. But it's a really interesting experience watching someone that young kind of embrace, this path that I think when you they say the word hospice, there's a obviously there's a path that's kind of like associated with that.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
can.
just wanted to share a little bit with people because yeah, people do it with us a lot. So
Yeah,
thank you.
that's tough to, watch someone lose the things about themselves that make them who they are. And that's not only going to be tough to watch and tough for you to like feel that pain about it, like, a friend, but it's also going to kind of be bringing up some stuff about your own mortality too,
Of
huh?
course, of course. And like everyone around me,
Yeah.
it really does. It really makes you think about it. And he's it's just feel like there's a lot going on these days around, and I don't know exactly why. But yeah, that's one of the big things. And yeah. Yeah, like you
Well, a
said, it's
little
just
reminder, in the new year to, you know, focus on the things that matter,
exactly.
you know.
Exactly. Yep.
Try your best, focus on the things that matter and do the things that are important to you, live with you according with your values and be around the people who matter.
Yeah. This other thing came up, and I know we're going to start our episode in a second. I'm sorry to take, extra time, but this thought just came up to me. So, my partner, her grandfather's also in the hospital. He's been struggling with some health issues. He seems like he was a little bit better the last couple of days. It was scary on Friday. We like rushed to the ER, thought things were really bad. Over the week, like Sunday, he was doing better, and he was cracking jokes, and that was nice. And it kind of, and the same with my neighbor too. Like the other day when I visited him, he was making some jokes, and it just reminded me of, out of everything, it's so important to be able to still maintain parts of your personality as long as you can, right? Because that's like the thing that, like, on my end, when I see that, I'm like, provides so much comfort for the ones around you when they're like, well, you're still in there, right? But also, I got to imagine for yourself to still feel like you have that part of yourself, that whatever makes you you, right? If you have a little humor, if you're a little sarcastic, to be able to hang on to that aspect as long as possible, because that is like what makes us who we are, right?
I
Those
think so.
qualities.
I think so.
So yeah, and I just think it's like if you're dealing with someone who's also expressing health issues, like looking for things like that, like those are like the bright sides you gotta be watching for, because like this stuff can get overwhelming and like, really like weigh on you. But like when you have those moments where they crack a joke, or you see that quality of them that you've always known to be who they are, like appreciate that and kind of like hang on to that.
Hang on to it, extend it, and it makes it even more special. And it's kind of like the metaphor for the whole thing. Like those moments are brief, and life in itself is brief. So live for those little moments, seek out those little
Yes.
moments, and
Yep.
stop focusing on it. We all do it. Geez, like the amount of we were talking before we got on it, the stuff that we were talking about, like that you were talking about with one of your
Yeah.
people. It's like, does that matter?
Right.
Does it matter? You know what I mean? Really, like we have to start asking ourselves that more. Like this thing that's stressing me out so much, does it matter? If I
Yeah.
had 24 hours left to live, would I even think about this? You know?
Right.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Yeah, we could talk about that for a while. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess we need to get into today's episode, Dave.
Well, I feel almost like we're behind a week on everything we want to do. So I think that, like, I'm hoping the goal here is that people aren't going to be so sick of like the things that just passed that they're not going to be interested in listening to this, because I think there's value in this. But also, the thing that we're talking about doesn't actually correlate with our New Year's,
Right.
right? So, Greg, I'll let you kind of do the introduction here.
So, Dave, this is something that it may seem trivial when you're going out with your family. And I remember going to the Good Fortune when I was a little kid, and you would sit down at the Chinese restaurant, and
The, that placemat, yeah.
that paper placemat would be there, and everyone would kind of like, as you're settling in and the
What are
water's coming
you?
in, the tea's coming. What are you? Right? What are you? And I remember like, my dad is a rabbit, and my mother is a horse. My sister is Lucky, and she's a dragon, and I am a dog. So,
Same.
Dave, what are you, Dave?
Dog.
Oh, that's right. We're dogs.
Yeah.
And because that's interesting because this thing we're talking about the Chinese Zodiac calendar here. This is a 12-year cycle. not a 12-month cycle like your standard Western zodiac, right? Which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
And this thing is important. This influences a quarter of the world's population, right? Because we're talking about the Chinese here. That's a lot of
Mhm.
people. Everything. Like they consult this thing when it's, job searching, when they should have kids matchmaking, because to be honest, they have certain animals just don't go together,
Yeah.
right?
That was
Pigs.
always the thing you would look for. You would look
Yeah.
at yours and then you would see who was your, I mean, even as a young kid, like who do I match with and who do I not match with? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all kind of bestiality. It's all kind of strange mixing these species, but kind of cool at the same time. Now, do you know, like, is there any animals that specifically stick out to you? And obviously, we'll go through them, but did you know that there's one that they really sort of try for?
That they try to create.
Yeah, well, you wanna have certain,
You want your baby to be born in this year, so it will be
yeah,
this animal.
that's right.
Is it not the dragon?
It is the dragon,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And
Wait, wait, was it what's your sister's date of year of birth?
dude, I don't know.
Okay, but you know she's a dragon. I feel like my
Yeah.
sister's a dragon. My oldest sister's a dragon too, actually.
Yeah, what's interesting though, like there was this thing that I was when I was doing the work for this, I did kind of, and it might be cool to say this now. Like in 2015, there was this huge rise in C-sections because that not that I think that was the year of the horse, and not that because those are so great. It's because
They
the
were
after
trying to squeeze it into the year of the dragon.
no, they were trying to squeeze it into the year of the horse only because the goats were coming up next, and the goat they didn't want to have any goat babies.
Oh boy. I can't
So
wait to talk about some of the personality traits that are
I
associated with
know.
these
Well,
for people to
listen to
say.
this though, right? So there's almost baby booms in China because of the dragon, right? And then when there's time to be a goat or time to be a tiger, there's so fewer people that
Ooh,
there's less competition. So it ends up being that like the richer and more successful people in the country and in the world actually are the tigers and the goats. Isn't that crazy?
that
And
is kind of crazy.
the dragons are don't do so well.
You know, also, I wonder if like that's ever been utilized by the government as like a population control type deal,
Wow.
like trying to spin the media's like take and like how we view certain of animals in order to decrease pregnancies
The
at
surplus
certain time,
population. That's what
right?
Scrooge would say. So, yeah, look, that is something that had not crossed my mind. Usually you're a little less conspiratorial than I am, but I think
Well, I mean,
that
it just screams it right there. Like,
it really does.
you know,
Like the government saying, hey, look, we got this calendar. We need to slow down the amount of babies having. So don't
yeah.
have babies this time, this typical time of year
Can you
that's
guys
really
trash
big.
on rats for a little bit? Because we're getting
Yeah.
up to the year of the rat. So
Yeah. Yeah, rats are actually okay. I think they're kind
yeah,
of
I mean, in this, yeah.
yeah.
Well, so you mentioned it like this. The zodiac calendar is based on like 12-year cycles, but the Chinese calendar itself is a lunar solar. I have no idea what that means. But the it consists of 12 months of alternately 29 and 30 days. So their calendars are equal to 354 days. So they're a little bit short of us, right?
Mm.
I wonder why.
I wonder why
Um,
too.
so yeah, so it has approximately 12 full lunar cycles. Again, this stuff's lost on me. I don't totally understand a lot of this means. Does this stuff make sense to you?
Not exactly. I mean, I think it's important to talk about for like reasons that we can kind of get into at the end. But yeah, no, it's interesting. It's something that we've all seen that we've just kind of accepted that it's there and never really kind of tried to understand what it is.
Yeah. I read something also about like there's been I don't know what this word means, intercalary months that have been inserted to keep the calendar year in step with the solar year of about 365 days. So that would obviously match more with us. Um, so the months, as you mentioned, are referred to within a year and sometimes with the series of the 12 animal names, which have uh, this ancient time story associated with it of where they came up with the animal names, which I'll get
Oh, I
to in
didn't
a
know
minute.
that. I didn't realize that there was a story. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah,
until today, but I
yeah,
do want to hear like this story.
yeah. So the order is the rat, the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, the dragon, the snake, the horse, the sheep, the monkey. the rooster, the dog, and then the pig. I will be quizzing you on that after.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You got it. Okay. Um, so aside from it having the 12-year cycle of the animals, it also incorporates one of five elements: wood, fire, metal, or water. I don't know why I just thought that was funny that wood is the element. Um,
The dormant teenager inside of you.
so wood, fire, earth, metal, or water is so it'd be like so spoiler alert, this is the year of the wood snake, right? So what
No, that got me
that
that time. It's quite the combo.
um so and with all those with the five elements and the 12-year cycle of animals, that creates a 60-year cycle of all the different combinations you could possibly get, I guess. So interesting. And then obviously the element adds a little twist to the representation of the animal, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Okay.
So the history on this Chinese zodiac stuff is not totally clear. It's kind of like there's different variations of stories, or maybe like one person's story is like it came from this person, another one is it came from this, and also even kind of when it started is not totally positive. So there's some suggestions that it came during Warring States period of like 475 to 221 BCE. Others think it might have been in between 221 and 207 BCE, and others during the Han Dynasty. So in any event, it's established that it was the latter half of the Han Dynasty era, which was 206 to 220, 206 BCE to 220 CE. What is CE?
Common era.
Okay. Was BC before Common Era?
Hmm.
Okay. Cool.
They changed things.
Thank you.
There's no more AD and BC. I mean, if you want to be old school, you can throw it out there, but
Is that because of all inclusive taking out religious
so
aspects before Christ,
I
after Christ?
yeah, so Anno Domini was AD, and it's like Latin for something and not having to do with Christ. But what I've always
Oh,
wondered about with that little thing is what is that? There is those 33 years that Christ lived. Do those not count? Like I've kind of like we might be off our topic here, right?
yeah. Sounds
It's
like
like
we got to do some
before and
research
then
here.
like okay, maybe there's 33 years that just aren't counted. I don't know. Who knows?
Interesting. Yeah.
Mm,
Hmm. Okay.
yeah.
So there's a popular legend about a race between animals that is kind of one that's frequently recounted as the origin of the Chinese zodiac. So the legend states that the Jade Emperor, the most revered and popular of the Taoist deities, initiated the race, while another version claims that Buddha did it. So regardless of who did it, um, there's a race between the animals, and according to the legend, the race was to create the zodiac. So it had the intention of actually creating this, and all animals were invited to participate for a chance to be featured in the zodiac system. I don't know how they got the memo out to all the animals. If they
Oh,
like, if there was a TV commercial saying,
this
come
is
on,
like
come down to the mall, and we're going to be doing a race.
isn't it
Or
kind of like it's making me think of like Kung Fu Panda and like anthropomorphizing all these animals? Like, oh, we got to get to the race. It's a
yeah,
really cool thing to
let's
think
all
about.
go to the race.
People were so like without
Gullible.
TV and like stuff like that, it's just
They're
what
just
a
so
bizarre
gullible that
time.
they believe
Yeah.
this story
Like, oh,
that
that used to happen? Okay.
oh, there was a race. Cool.
I get
Uh,
it.
so the first 12 to cross the finish line would earn a place in the calendar in the order they completed the race. So that's where I said the order earlier. That was the order of
So
how
the
they
rat won.
finished. That's what I'm hearing.
The rat beat the
Um,
dragon. Okay.
so the main feature of this race course was there was a river that all the animals had to cross, and one version recounts that the first animal to cross the river was the rat, and it used its smarts to hitch a ride on the ox before jumping off at the last second to win the race. After the ox came the tiger, the rabbit, and the dragon. The dragon could fly. You would think he would have
Just
won,
win. Yeah.
right away. But according to some versions of the story, the dragon made a detour to save some villagers from a fire. So it was like a hero. And
Yeah, that's
next,
one thing that kind of separates the East from the West, their their view of the dragon. The
oh,
dragons are
okay.
great, like heroic figures Eastern culture.
And what side they were on in the Biggie Tupac feud.
Yeah,
So
and the
two
West
big
Side,
differences.
forget it.
Two big differences right there.
They were
All
the
right.
enemy.
So next came the snake, which were in that year, 2025, and then the horse. And some accounts suggest that to come out ahead, the snake startled the horse, but other accounts said that the snake hid, wrapped itself around one of the horse's hooves, and did like what the rat did. So I like, what I like about these stories?
I
There's
think I do know.
creative ways that they're coming up with, like how they finish this race.
And I think that like the ways that they finish this race like might suggest something about the personality of the
Yes, that's
animal.
exactly, as I was reading
Yeah.
this description, I was like, oh, this is where they came up with some of the personality descriptions that are associated with
Yeah.
these animals. And this kind of goes into that whole thing that we did with the Enneagrams,
Mhm.
with what was the other personality type thing we did? Jungian archetypes. Did we do that?
Yep, I get
Did
archetypes.
we do it? Did we do an episode on that
We
though?
did young, so we
Oh, so
kind of
we're gonna
we
do a full one
dabbled.
on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one other
I know, recent
personality thing
too.
we did. Yeah. Wow. Whoa.
Something I feel like
Yikes.
supernatural, but I guess maybe not.
What the heck is wrong with us?
I don't know. Get back
Okay.
in the archives.
All right. So the sheep, the monkey, the rooster came next. The dog finished second to last after pausing to take a bath or to play in the river.
That's me.
That's us. And then the pig came in after stopping to eat and rest along the way. That little guy.
Oh, wow. Okay. What is that saying about the pig?
Mm,
Not
he's
so
he's
good.
doing what I'm doing lately. He's stress
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
He's like, I
lose
don't
this
care what
damn
this is.
race. So yeah, so that's where they come up with the order. So we got rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, sheep, monkey, rooster, dog, and then pig. I am
Okay.
surprised the dog finishes second to last.
Yeah, this a lot of the order surprises me, but I guess it's like, that maybe that makes sense when we talk more about the personalities, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you could be the tortoise beats the hare, right? I mean, there's things that there's parts of us that are useful, and I think that's what's kind of like cool about this. There's things about us that we might think suck, that we might think are a weakness that are useful. We just have to wait for that situation
yeah.
to arise, you know?
I got to share a funny little story about an animal that didn't make it into the zodiac. So
Okay.
the cat.
Oh,
Um, there's two stories about why the cat didn't make it into Zodiac. One was the cat asked the rat to wake it up on the morning of the race, and when the rat forgot, the cat was too late to take part in the race, and then was excluded. There's another version where the cat and the rat were both on the ox's back while crossing the river, but then the rat pushed the cat overboard, sinking its chances of inclusion on the list.
oh my God, the rat killed
And
it.
guess what? This is what legends say is why cats hate rats and try to chase and kill them.
Generational trauma.
This is where it all started.
That's where it came from. All right, should we
So
go through like the characteristics and sort
yeah,
of the
sure.
like what these things are all about?
Yep.
All right, so
Go
you
ahead.
want to talk about the rat?
Go ahead.
All right, so let's start with the rat since it is the victor of this whole thing. Known for its charm, I guess you would have to be charming with, if you weren't as visually alluring as some of these animals. Quick-witted, of course. Individuals born with the sign, they're also these are the kind of people they're like resourceful, obviously. Rats are very resourceful, they're intelligent. We use them in a lot of studies in psychology, right?
Yep.
Resourceful and they adapt to any situation. They can live basically anywhere. So they're problem solvers and they're great in social settings. They're social creatures. So that would be the rat. One of the things that, and I can tell, like we're gonna, talk about this a little bit, maybe at the end, but why is it like it's really highlighting a bunch of good characteristics? There's not a lot of negative characteristics in these things.
Well, that one doesn't. Some of the other ones do, and you'll see
All
this
right.
as we go along. I'm
All right.
actually, now that I'm looking at it, you're right. There is nothing actually, because a lot of them will say, however,
Yeah.
but
Like a
this one
horoscope.
doesn't. Yeah, the rats. I think we kind of know what the rat's problem
Yeah.
is. He's pushing cats off of the ox.
Yeah,
He's
they're potential murderers.
Yeah.
So
It's cheat to win.
cheat to
The
win.
ends justify the means for the rat. So the rat is a jerk
Good businessman though. Good businessman.
Great businessman. Terrible person. Great
Terrible
businessman though.
person. That
I'm
sounds
just
about
kidding.
right.
Just kidding if you're a rat.
Or a businessman.
So the ox, on the other hand, he symbolizes diligence and reliability. They're known for strong work ethic and determination. They're methodical and patient. They prefer a steady and dependable approach to life. Their perseverance often leads them to success, but they're stubborn as hell.
That's what I'm looking for. But they're stubborn. Yeah, that sounds about right for an
Stubborn as
ox.
hell. Yep.
How
Yep.
about tigers? What do you think about these guys? These are going to
Ferocious.
be your what was that thing? X Games type of people, right? Your thrill seekers.
Oh, Squid
Your
Games.
Squid Games, yeah. They're courageous, competitive. They're leaders. But they like to take they're entrepreneurial. They like to take risks. They're always up for a challenge. And they're like these people, they're larger than life. They come into the room and they take over, right? They're sort of infectious. But you're gonna want to watch out for the temper
Oh yeah.
with these types, very
And their
dangerous.
gambling addictions.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, it's true because they could be very impulsive, so that's
Yeah.
true.
Oh, so temper for tigers. See, I thought it was going to say that for dragon. So that surprised me a
The
little bit.
dragons are all good. Remember that.
Yeah. Rabbits, gentle, kind-hearted, known for grace and sensitivity. They're often artistic and have a keen eye for beauty. They can be compassionate. They'll make a great friend. They always are ready to lend an ear. However, their sensitive nature can sometimes make them overly cautious. And be careful with all your secrets with them. They're
Really?
they're shifty little guys. No,
See, I
I
wouldn't
just made
even.
that last part up, but
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I'm trying
overly
to think. Like,
cautious.
so that's my dad. Doesn't sound like him. Overly cautious,
Wait,
though.
isn't he known for his grace and sensitivity?
No.
I feel like all your childhood stories kind of highlighted that.
He's so graceful and
Didn't
sensitive.
he punch you in the ribs?
Yeah,
Tell you
he
to
did a
toughen
lot.
up.
He did a lot of things that don't seem very graceful and compassionate. Overly cautious, though. I noticed that now when he's a grandfather and like he won't let the kids do anything. He always thinks they're
Right.
gonna break their
It
necks.
was it was probably there the whole time. And maybe that's where some of that tough love even comes from, is to kind of ward you away from things that are going to cause you to get into danger.
That's a long way to go, Dave. But you know what? I wanna believe that. I do.
I want to believe.
Let's get into this dragon because this is my favorite. It's a mythical creature. So in Chinese culture, this is a very important. It's power and ambition. They're charismatic and confident. So these people they're full of energy. They're natural born leaders. They're not afraid to pursue their dreams. They're kind of like tigers, but without the downside, because they can appear domineering, but their enthusiasm is hard to resist, and they're well intentioned. So dragons really are where it's at.
Do you remember 90s R&B and pop sensation Cisco the Dragon?
Yeah, Dong Song.
I wonder if he was
Yeah.
actually actually a dragon.
He was a
Even though he
dragon.
was such a small, compact man,
Hmm.
he had all these qualities.
I don't know. Where
You
is he
remember him
now?
flipping on the beach in the thong song video?
He was an incredible athlete. Ripped. He was all around a pretty impressive
Dyed
guy.
his hair blonde like Eminem before
Platinum, not
Eminem.
even blonde, like platinum. It was like
Before
silver.
Eminem.
Yes.
I think Eminem might have actually done it because of Cisco the Dragon.
Did he go by Cisco the Dragon? I don't think so.
That was his full moniker. Cisco the
Really?
Dragon. Yeah. His solo
What was
album was
Now? What was
Cisco
the
the
band
Dragon.
that he was in?
Drew
He was
Hill.
in Drew Hill. That's right.
Somebody sleeping in my bed. I used to love
Yeah,
that song.
Drew Hill is pretty great.
All right. No mystery what year we're from. All right. Snakes. Known for wisdom and intuition. They're
Manipulation, I would think.
those born under this sign are deep thinkers who are often calm and collected. They are strategic and prefer to plan their moves carefully. Their mysterious aura can make them appear secretive, but it also adds to their allure.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you
Mysterious as
trust the
hell.
snake?
They're mysterious as hell.
They are mysterious. And
You can't
honestly, I
help but
feel
be
like
attracted to them. You
do
don't want to be though.
does Eastern culture have the same sort of I mean, we're bred to hate snakes. And I think there's something in all of our DNA,
To be
just not
scared
just
of them.
not
Yeah.
just Old Testament. I mean, they move in a way that I think our brains can't understand.
Well,
There's
I
something
mean,
about it.
think about we associate snakes with the devil,
Yes, we do.
serpents.
Hmm. That had to, well, chicken or the egg on that one. Someone had to see a snake and be like, "That's not right,"
He's got no
you know.
arms or legs.
And
I
it's
don't trust
moving.
that. I don't
I don't
trust that
trust that
thing.
thing. And sharp teeth, forget it. The horse, who I always consider to be a pretty majestic animal. I love a good horse. They symbolize freedom and adventure. People that are born in the year of the horse are typically energetic, independent. They like to explore new horizons. So, it's funny to like think about what animal you would want to embody, like your spirit animal, I guess is what you're
Yeah.
saying, right? Um, Unfortunately, I think mine is probably a dog, but I wish it was a
Same.
horse. Yeah, horses seem really cool,
I think
but
mine's a manatee.
yeah,
They're just
yeah,
awesome.
like a
Just
tree
want to hug
sloth,
them.
maybe. Yeah. So, what do you think? What do you think about the next guy? I'm sorry you have to have this one, but this one's not
Goats. I love goats. I'm a huge goat fan, actually.
really.
I love goats. They're adorable. So they're gentle, empathetic. They're known for their kind and caring nature. They often put others' needs before their own. They have a strong artistic side and appreciate the finer things in life. This is all things I wouldn't
I
have
know.
associated with a
Sounds
goat.
good.
Their sensitivity, however, can sometimes make them prone to worry. So it's interesting. The things that are more gentle or have like softer descriptions
Yeah.
have similar like cautions, right? Prone to worry. What was the rabbit? Was like overly cautious.
Yeah.
So there's
Which
like a
which is
theme
literally the
going on
same
here.
thing,
Yeah. So like there's definitely a theme here with like animals that they are considered to be more like intense. Their cautions all have to do with like the intense of emotions that they have. And then the opposite for these like smaller, gentler animals, right?
I wish there was like a list that we could have come across that's more truthful, where it's like, what are the bad sides of these things? I don't want to
Yeah.
know all the good stuff. Like what are terrible about goats? Because they're unlucky and
Nothing.
something.
They get bloated.
How about monkeys? There's definitely negative connotations with monkeys, right? First of all, apes have the strength of like 9 men, and they can rip your arms off and rip your face off, and sometimes do. They're clever and curious, though.
Chimp crazy.
Yeah, sharing an incredible amount of DNA with us. They're
Did you watch that
mischievous.
documentary?
I didn't.
Chimp Crazy, I think it's
Was it
called.
good? Was it worth a
It's kind of
watch?
like Tiger King, but with and it talks about that woman who did like get mauled. I think she's in Connecticut.
I think there's a lot of
Scary,
people who got mauled by
scary.
chimps.
Because I do love monkeys, but scary.
Well, they're dangerous.
They're
You
so
know,
they're
they're,
so
they
cute.
they have a playful nature, and so do the monkeys, the people who sort of embody the personality of monkeys. But they also can have what's seen as a lack of seriousness,
Yeah,
which could be considered part of the charm, but also could be pretty annoying.
which
And
is so interesting because I was watching a documentary called Planet of the Apes, and like those were some intense animals right in there. Like
yeah,
there
no,
was a
that
lot of joking around going on in their colonies.
now we were talking about like the modern.
Yeah.
m- Yeah, I like the old ones.
The modern ones I think are great.
They are great.
So many good themes in those.
Caesar,
Caesar, Hail Caesar.
that's right.
Um, Roosters are confident and hardworking. They are known for they changed it. It wasn't always roosters before. It was another
I know
name.
it used to be something different.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on what that name was. So known for meticulous nature, roosters are detail oriented. They always strive for perfection. They are straightforward, sometimes straight up and honest, often preferring to speak their mind. Their
Yep.
confidence can sometimes come across as arrogance. They are
Yeah.
deeply committed to their goals. Wow, did they just call them jerks?
They kind of did. Now, Dave, we kind of like we're being a little silly here, but roosters, they changed the obviously like we could
Back
say
in the day, it would say the original term on the mat,
yeah,
placemat.
because you would go to your friends and be like, "Oh, am I the cock?"
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah,
And but like have we really gotten to that place in society where we can't handle that word?
yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
We can't.
I
Why would
know.
anyone else?
Who spent an extra minute on that one? I know.
Yeah,
Why should anybody?
you just had to do a soliloquy just so
I
you
know.
could
I
say the
had to say
word.
it. I had to say it. You're right. So, dogs, Dave and I are your loyal and trustworthy podcast hosts.
Yeah.
We were both born in the year of the dog, 1982. And we have a sense of justice and a willingness to help others. We are dependable and make excellent friends and partners. Now, this is sounding pretty on the nose.
Yeah.
They have a strong moral compass, and that can sometimes make them overcritical. I would disagree with that last part.
Wow, actually.
Yeah. Judgy? A couple of judgers?
Wow, you know what's funny? I never really thought of myself that way. I don't think I'm judgmental unless somebody's doing something that I feel is different than how I see it should be. I guess that's exactly what judgmental is,
Yeah,
right?
that is. That's a good definition.
Damn.
Well, yeah,
I
damn,
can be
that's
very
true.
non-judgmental when needed at times.
Look, I am judgy when it
Oh.
comes to certain things. Like my people eating food with their mouth open.
Oh, yeah, don't get me started. Or
That's a
breathing with their
problem.
mouth open for no
Yeah.
reason. You don't even have a
I
cold and you're
little
breathing.
things really can
I
kind of irk
sleep,
me.
I snore with my mouth closed. That's how much it means to me.
Yeah, that's how much respect you have. That's class. If we were having a sleepover when we were kids and I saw you snoring with your mouth closed, I'd be like, no, that's class, and I appreciate that
I
effort.
really do. Um, yeah, that was actually I've always known that it fit me pretty well.
Mm.
And then there's people that know me that are like, that's not you. But no, it is me. It's 100% me.
It's
To a
similar
fault.
to the Taurus, right? I mean, because wait, I'm a Taurus. You're not a
I'm a
Taurus.
Sag.
Oh, okay. That's interesting how this is like it's year, not month. So it's like everyone born in this year is the same.
I know
That's got holes in it.
it does. All of them do.
Yeah.
Finally, the pig represents generosity and
Uh,
compassion. These are kind-hearted, sometimes jovial, always ready to help those in need. They're known for their honesty and they're often very easygoing. Their generous nature can sometimes be taken advantage of, but they remain steadfast in their belief in the goodness of others. Just give them a candy bar and they're happy.
yeah, no, it sounds like you were describing like a jolly, like John Candy.
John loves candy.
He sure does.
Yep.
Yep, he sure does. So this
R.I.P.
is
John
so
Candy.
what does it exactly mean that we are in the year of the wood snake? Like what is that? What should we be looking out for?
Um, Great question, Greg. I'm really glad you asked me that. I've been waiting for that moment. So yeah, this marks the year of the wood snake in China, which signifies time for transformation, for
Hmm.
growth, for introspection, Greg.
Okay.
It will continue until February 16th of 2026, when the year of the horse is going to begin. I don't know what element sign that's going to be, but during the time of the wood snake. So I actually don't think the Chinese New Year started yet. I think it's
I
like
think it's the
January.
29th.
Yeah, it's something like
It's
that.
deep in
I
the
think you're
month.
right. I think you're right. Actually, I thought it was January 16th, but maybe I'm getting confused with when it ends. But you're probably right. January 29th, maybe that sounds about right. I would
Could
Google
be
it
wrong.
if I cared more. So during that period of time, um, we should be looking to focus on new beginnings, like getting a new job,
Huh?
self improvement, being a better person, Greg, career growth,
Trying all those things.
career growth.
Trying-
That's something that me and you have been kind of talking about a lot. The first half is ideal for pursuing new opportunities and making decisions about money. The latter half emphasizes stability, teamwork, and long lasting. Greg, I'm going to be honest with you. I was actually going to make this a short episode and just talk about the year of the wood snake for
Yeah.
people and kind of make this a bonus episode. Obviously, we weren't able to do that timing wise. But then when I was reading this, I was like, no, 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 no. This is something we probably got to talk about more. How fitting is all this stuff for your current life?
I mean, it's pretty dead on. I feel so much like a wood snake right now. Honestly, that is what's going on for me. Dead on.
And I'm not in the exact same position as you, but so much of that screams at me
It hasn't
as
even started.
well.
The year of the wood snake hasn't even started yet. So
Right,
you got time.
right. It feels like even if I wasn't contemplating these are things that I should be contemplating,
Hmm.
right? So I think that's what I was like being drawn to by this topic. These things, it's almost like giving you goals. So if you're not a goal oriented person, if you're not someone who's like like can formulate a goal for themselves because it's like you just don't know what you want to do, or maybe it's just something you don't put thought into. How awesome is this that there's like they have this natural way of like formulating goals for people.
I know, I think that's cool, but I also think it could backfire too, because it's like,
I'm supposed to change my job.
yeah, like or even like, is it helpful to know like at the start of your day like what's gonna come, or is it better to approach like life with the unexpected out there? I don't know, if you feel like you're expecting something to happen a certain way, I think that like maybe you get short-sighted, and you're only seeing that specific thing or evidence for that or against that. Like you're not seeing the whole, you're not just going in with like a blank slate, which I think is a better approach in a way. You know? It's kind of a weird thing to be like, oh, well, I'm supposed to be kind of looking for this year, and then like maybe you're missing other opportunities, maybe you're not seeing,
And
other.
I agree with you. But what I've been trying to do with the way that I approach things
Okay.
is looking at it in the most open-minded way possible to find any way that this can be translated into something helpful. So like I said, even if I'm not in a position where I'm going to change a job, right?
Hmm.
Is it hurtful for me to focus on, well, let me look at the other things. Focus on new beginnings, focus on self-improvement, focus on career growth. I don't see how any of those things could really backfire on me because they're
No,
kind of vague and a little general. And like I could probably associate them. It doesn't have to be with like my career. It could be
yeah.
with a side project I'm doing, could be with this other thing that I've always wanted to do. It could be just working on myself in a lot of different ways. There's so many different ways to translate that. um I do worry a little bit about the like pursuing new opportunities, making decisions about money. If people take that very literal, that it means like work related stuff.
So what about this though? Maybe that's why they're all kind of relatively positive. So that
The personality
all
of
of them,
the
yeah. So it's like, you need all different, maybe you need about like 12 different quote unquote archetypes, personality types, whatever it is, to fill the world. And it's like maybe it's making sure that we stay kind of diverse, and there's all kinds of, and like for years and years that people have noticed that these are the personality types that make the world flourish, and we want to keep producing those kinds of personality types. So every year we create a group of people by saying, look, this is who you are. This is what you're going to end up being like. And by saying that, they just kind of become like that. And then you're filling the population up with people like that's been tested that these groups of people working together is what's making
now,
China so
is that
successful.
possible though, to put a personality type out in the atmosphere, in the environment, in the atmosphere, and someone can become that because it's
Yeah,
suggested at them?
yeah, I think
Like you
so.
could become a loyal person just because you're told that you're supposed to be loyal.
I think that's the only reason why I am. I'm a dog. What can I do? That's what I was
Woof, woof.
born to be. Honestly though, like that isn't that sort of generational trauma in the way I was kidding the first time, but that this time I'm like, oh, if you tell a kid over and over again, like you're a rotten little turd, he's gonna be a rotten little
Yeah.
turd when he goes into the world. You know what I mean?
If someone told me I had like fiery emotions, I still don't know that I could ever muster those.
I know you might be like trying to though.
Urgh!
I'm so
I'm
fiery.
so freaking angry right now.
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
just
know.
no,
We're
I'm not.
pretty
I'm
low
just
key.
sad.
Yeah, no, we're just a couple of dogs.
So I don't know, Greg. I think that's an interesting idea that you're suggesting here.
I think it could be, right?
Yeah. I do think that there's what we're so used to because of different things that we've like studied or looked at. We talk a lot about like the benefit to looking at the things that aren't your strengths
Mm.
and trying to utilize that focus to better yourself, right? To improve yourself. But that doesn't mean every single approach is always going to have that, right? So like this is a different approach. This is a more positive based approach, which I think kind of
Yeah,
fits also their
yeah.
mentality, their outlook. It's like let's focus on these positive qualities about ourselves. It's like even that like I mean even like this, like the personality, all this stuff is like, it's just very positive focus based to
What's wrong with
avoid.
that, right? You know what I
I
mean? You're
guess
right.
there's nothing. I
Yeah, yeah, you
mean,
know?
we're constantly looking at like trying to
Yeah.
do self improvement, but maybe that's not necessarily what this is. This is about striving to just embrace the things that are positive about you. So it's like it's just a different approach, right?
It's a good approach. It's like act kind of in a way,
Sure.
you know, where it's like, why focus on like why look at myself as someone that needs to be fixed? I'm this, this, and this, and this. It's like, no, I'm all these good traits. Let's lean into that.
Yeah. And instead of saying like, oh, but you might not be as strong in this area, or this would be a downfall or weakness, they're saying this is something to be cautious of.
Be cautious of it.
Right. This you might have a little
You
temper.
know what? Watch out for that. You
Yeah.
get it, Mr.
Be
Tiger.
careful.
You got to
Tread
watch out for that. And there are
take
little dragons, and I bet you there's a bunch of narcissistic people born as dragons, though,
oh,
because you're,
I'm a dragon.
you know, I'm
Bruh,
a dragon. I'm
bruh.
perfect. I don't have to
I
watch
got
out for anything.
I got a tattoo of a dragon on my back, bro.
You know they do. There's so
And
many.
it's like, dude, you were the wrong year. You're not actually a dragon, you're a goat.
What are we gonna get? A tattoo of a golden retriever
Yeah.
on her back? It's not bad.
There's worse things.
Yeah, it's the worst things is right.
So
So yeah, I mean,
the
this
last time there was a year of the wood snake was celebrated, it was in 1965. You know, it would be a great thing to do.
what's that?
Take a look at 1965 and see what great things happened that year to see if it fits in line with wood snakes, the year of the wood snakes.
Well, we could do like a little our own little personal history. And
Yeah, I'm gonna be
do
honest.
you know it?
We're
You
probably
know
not gonna do
anybody?
that.
Your our parents were probably like 10.
No.
So
40. What year was my parents born? 40
40,
something.
late 40s. Your parents, how old are they?
You're gonna make me say that on air, dude. You know I'm gonna get it wrong.
My parents are in their 70s, and
So am
I
mine.
think my dad was, yeah, so I think my dad was born in 51, and my mom was born in 54, I
I
think.
can't math right now. I want to
Yes.
say 47, but I'm probably insulting my parents for now.
Yeah, they're like, what?
They're like 77,
So they're like literal baby boomers. Like after the war ended, their parents got right to work.
probably.
So I don't want to, it might be too late to talk to someone who is, kind of starting a new job in 1965. That person's old.
Yeah, we gotta find them.
Yeah. Maybe I know the guy. I know just the guy. We work with him.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's when he started therapy. He invented therapy in
Yeah.
1965. All right, so
And then he forgot.
the snake represents intuition, strategy, and elegance. When it's paired with a wood element, it emphasizes adaptability, creativity, and long-term planning, which I think is a lot of the reason why you're hearing these themes about like, pursuing new endeavors or looking at, different things
Mm,
to get involved in. Um, Wood adds a layer of growth, resilience, and harmony to the snake's already intuitive nature, making this a year ideal for personal and professional development.
that's crazy. This is our year.
This is the year for us and all of our listeners.
I feel like a wood snake right now.
I feel like we're a community of wood snakes.
Yeah.
All us and as everyone listening, our audience, we're all just wood snakes trying to get by. We're gonna succeed heavy this year.
Yep.
I just jinxed it, didn't I?
Nope.
We're all
Can't do
doomed.
it. Not
No,
in
you
this.
can't.
It's only
You,
positive.
we have till February 16th or we failed.
Is that how it works?
2026. Nope.
Okay.
No, you can't fail. Um,
I can't.
you can't.
My kids
I'm
will
trying
stop.
to see if there's anything else about this year that all right. So one caution, I guess. Here's a caution.
Okay.
So snakes are obviously favored in the year of 2025. So if you're also born in the year of snake, you're
I'm
a
doing
double
okay.
whammy. You're a double whammy.
Yeah.
However, self reflection and strategic planning are crucial to avoid overconfidence this year. So that's a little cautionary tale for all of us. Self reflection and strategic planning to avoid overconfidence. So, Greg, that kind of actually almost speaks to that thought you had earlier about going into the year assuming that you have to like there's already a path laid out for you. We want to avoid being
Yeah,
overconfident, like, oh, this is the year for me. This I'm going to make all these changes. We want to go mindfully, right? We want to
mindfully.
reflect on things, be strategic, plan things out,
Don't
and
be
not just
overcautious like a rabbit.
right. We don't want to assume though that everything's going to go exactly our way just because this is our year, right?
That's right.
Okay.
All
That's all I
right.
got, Greg. What do you got?
I think that's perfect. I think it's a perfect way to end it. And I really do think that people need to be brave. If there's something that you've been thinking about doing, do it. Now's the time.
Do it with self-reflection and
2025.
strategy.
That's right. Yeah. Don't quit your job. And
Right, right.
unless you got to know that's always been the advice that my father the rabbit has always said because he's overcautious.
You
He would
never
say
quit your job without another job in line.
ever.
That's just intelligent.
That's just
That's just
yeah.
science right there.
But you hear those stories where it's like a lot of people like I would have never been an entrepreneur if I didn't quit my job. It's like, dude, I just would never do that. I would never leave myself in a position where I had to, and maybe that's a flaw, where I had to like, you know, if I don't find another job, I'm gonna starve. You know what I mean?
Hmm. It's it's a scary thing. And
It's
if you have the ability to avoid doing the really scary thing and doing it in a more safe approach, then why not do it in that safe approach? But sometimes you really do need to just take that leap for some people. So,
sometimes you do, and I'll be a little vulnerable here for just a second. I am terrified that like they're gonna maybe they realize they don't need me as much as we thought they needed me, or I'm not as useful as I thought I would be. I'm not useful really at all right now. That's a hard thing to be starting somewhere new and to not be useful.
yeah,
It's a hard feeling,
yeah, absolutely.
to
It's
be like,
humbling.
how do you do this paperwork again? You know what I mean? A
You
lot of that.
you were the
I don't
man for a
know.
little bit.
It's scary. You have to be very humble, and
Yeah.
it hurts.
Where
Especially coming from a job where you knew like it was like second nature, you know what I mean? Clockwork. But we'll see.
do you have any regrets?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I do feel some regret, but I think that ultimately I made this decision for a reason and hopefully it works out. You know?
Hopefully your boss isn't listening. Your new boss.
Yeah. Who's actually really nice. I think it's just in case they are, which they're definitely not. Um, they're they're really nice, which is good. Maybe too nice.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I'm like, hmm.
Are
I'm
you gonna
overly cautious about that.
are you gonna murder me?
Yeah, what's going on here? Yeah, they're nice, so I just don't want to let them down, you know? I'm gonna try my best, see what happens.
You
Try
won't
my
let me
best.
down, Greg. Yeah,
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy.
you got this.
I think so. One way or another, I'm gonna eventually get it.
So um before we go, I just wanted to um touch base with Greg on one other thing because he's been doing this. I think we might have mentioned it in a previous episode. He's been doing this interpersonal group therapy thing with a group of people,
Hmm.
and he's been doing it on Tuesday mornings at our practice. And I'm going to be starting it on Thursday, and I'm nervous as hell
Don't be
because
nervous.
just getting a little nervous jitters about the first one with a new group. And it'd be really funny for people if we ever had any listeners who were like, "Hey, I need some help with interpersonal stuff," and if you're in our area, hit us up.
Hit us up
Come into
for
our
sure.
group.
Yeah, that'd be
Is that
awesome, right?
would that be a conflict of interest
No.
for us to? Yeah.
Load
So
up the group. Let's load it up.
and you know what? Like that's probably a topic that we could even do an episode on is interpersonal therapy,
Or group therapy.
interpersonal group therapy would be a topic because I know like there's a lot of undergrads listening or people future LMHCs or social workers, all those things listening and, probably also interested in group. So yeah, maybe we can share that in a future episode. But in the meantime, the next few weeks, we are going to be doing our best to catch up on as many listener
Hmm.
recommendations as possible. And I promise we will do our best to get through it. We have a laundry list of episodes that people have recommended at this point. So the next few weeks, we're going to try to bang out some of those.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So if you're listening and you've made it this far, as always, if you are able to, please leave a rating and review wherever you are streaming. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, click on the bell so you get alerts when we release new episodes. And yeah, if you need to reach out to us, utgnpodcast@gmail.com is our email. Feel free to, you know, email us on there, or you can reach us on social media, the Unconventional Therapist Guide to Nothing on all platforms pretty much. But mainly Instagram is the only one that we really pay attention to at this point. And that's it.
And that's it.
All right, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you next week. See you later.
See you later.